This morning on Daybreak, a man is facing multiple charges and cases who appeared in court yesterday.
And analysts are predicting the price of gold could be increasing. We'll tell you by how much.
Also, during the special session in Missouri this week, Democrats want a discussion on gun reform. We'll explain about that and more coming up this morning for you on Daybreak.
Well, good morning and thanks for joining us. Today is Wednesday, September 11th. I'm Lauren Barnes.
And I'm Joe Morano. Plenty happening over the course of the next 2 hours for you. But also just wondering how that weather is going to be, and is it still going to feel like summer?
Elisa has been promising a cold front at some point later on in the week. We have Beth in for her this morning, but we're getting a little bit closer to it, right?
Yeah, just, well, today and tomorrow's going to be hot.
Okay.
It'll be a little bit cooler Friday.
Just a little bit cooler.
Yeah. At this point, a few degrees is all we can ask for, and I have a feeling a lot of people will take it.
Yeah, yesterday we only hit 90 here in Springfield. 2 days ago we hit 95.
Okay.
Kidding.
So I took the 90-degree day, and we'll have another 90-degree day today. We're starting off this morning with just a couple of clouds. It's very warm, it's muggy, it's sticky, it's humid, anything that you can describe it. That's how it feels out there right now. Just a couple of clouds. It's 73 in Springfield, 72 in Rolla, 73 in Branson, and 73 down in Harrison, Arkansas. We've got dew points sitting in the upper 60s and lower 70s, a very muggy air mass in place, and we'll keep the humid conditions through the rest of today. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures will top off in the upper 80s and lower 90s, with feel-like temperatures once again in the upper 90s and a couple of triple digits by this afternoon. We have another hot and humid day today. Our rain chances do return Thursday into Friday, but not before another hot and humid day tomorrow. The heat returns once again for next week, and I have a Tracking the Tropics update that we'll talk about that could potentially impact the Ozarks next week. We'll do that in a few minutes.
Thank you, Beth. Need to let you know this morning a young woman and infant are both missing from Hollister. Police issued an endangered persons advisory for 26-year-old Caitlin Michael and 4-month-old Braylon French. They were last seen at a residence on White River Mountain Boulevard in Hollister at about 5 p.m. Saturday. They could be using a silver 4-door car. The advisory also says Michael is known to have issues with drugs and mental illness. She did not arrive at work or attend scheduled doctor appointments. And also, the man accused of abusing an 8-year-old girl went to trial yesterday in Springfield. Kenneth Davis is facing multiple charges of child abuse, and he is also charged in the death of Kensley Kilgore, who died last year. Davis faces charges in Kilgore's death in Dallas County. He's set to be arraigned in that case on the 17th, but yesterday was the first full day in this unrelated abuse case in Greene County, as he's being accused of 7 counts of child abuse and neglect.
This is the mugshot of what Davis looked like last year. And this is video taken in court from his trial right now. You can see he looks a bit different. That was an important factor yesterday as 2 young female witnesses, one of them the alleged victim, did not recognize him in court. After the opening statements, the state called witnesses to the stand, including a registered nurse and the alleged victim, an 8-year-old girl. The victim talked about the different things that Davis did to abuse her. She says he hit her, punched her, tried to make her drown herself, and pulled her hair. The ER nurse who treated the alleged victim read what the girl told her that night.
And I quote, "We went to the store and he spanked me with the belt. We went to the creek and he hit me with a rock on my knee and he dumped me underwater." She also stated he hit me with a piece of wood. He choked me more than once. He put his knee against my chest. He held me underwater at the creek. He slapped me and punched me. That's basically what she said.
And yesterday afternoon, the state called a few witnesses, including a Greene County detective and a nurse practitioner, all who have seen the alleged victim, saying they've noticed severe injuries on her body. The trial will continue this morning at 9 a.m. with the state calling more witnesses.
Some more stories with your right to know. Lawrence Timmons was arraigned in court yesterday for first-degree murder as he was recently arrested in connection to a 30-year-old cold case involving the death of Cynthia Smith. The news leader reports one of the witnesses in the grand jury indictment is Kelly Siegler. She's a former Texas prosecutor and now an executive producer on a TV crime show called Cold Justice. The show helps rural police departments investigate cases by providing resources to examine DNA evidence in financial matters. We still don't know what Lawrence County investigators found in the last 2 years, though, that pinned Timmons to the Smiths murder. Timmons is requesting a public defender, even though the state believes he can pay for an attorney.
A Purdy man will spend the next 15 years in prison for attempting to distribute methamphetamine. 71-year-old Guadalupe Urbino Rodriguez was sentenced in court yesterday after law enforcement seized a package of meth back in 2018 addressed to him. According to court documents, he was involved in a large-scale conspiracy to distribute meth from California to various places across the country. Police discovered 12 other packages of meth that had originated from the same place in California.
Got a market watch for you this morning. With Americans waiting to see the end of a trade war with China, there's been big movement on the price of gold in the U.S. Right now, an ounce of gold would run you about $1,500, which is the highest it's been in about 5 years. Its price is currently up over 20% compared to this time last year. Financial planner Stephen Evans says it has a lot to do with worldwide debt, but says buying gold can be just as volatile as playing the stock market.
I mean, in 2008, it shot up all the way to $1,800 and then fell to $1,000. You know, it's not like there's no dividends in gold. There's no, I mean, it is all what people think it's worth. It's not like a company that has profits and you can see, like, its financials. Gold has no financials. I mean, it is perceived value of what people think it's worth.
Analysts from Citigroup predict gold could be up over $2,000 an ounce in the next couple of years, but those prices can also change quickly.
A property near the old Springfield Price Cutter at Kansas Expressway in Grand could soon be up for sale. College of the Ozarks actually owns some of the adjacent land, but not the store. It was gifted to them years ago by a donor. Price Cutter closed in 2015. At Monday night's City Council meeting, a representative asked city leaders to rezone the property from single-family residential to commercial. C of O is hoping to work with Price Cutter to sell the property and the building to a developer to possibly build other stores or apartments. At a neighborhood meeting, most residents liked the idea. If the property is rezoned in 2 weeks, the city will have to do a traffic impact study. In today's political coverage, Democrats are calling for a discussion on gun reform during the special session this week. That session, though, focuses on legislation related to sales tax on vehicles.
However, Democrats used the chance to file multiple bills on gun reform in an effort to push Governor Mike Parson to extend the session to tackle those.
It's up to the governor to expand the call. That's happened before, and we filed these bills to demand that the conversations start, to prove that there is an array of conversation that can happen around this, but we as the leaders of Missouri need to step up to the plate and have this discussion now. None of us believe that we have a one-piece solution to deal with this crisis, but the conversation has to happen. And, you know, I don't believe that any one of us wants to take away the Second Amendment rights from law-abiding citizens.
Meanwhile, Parson was in St. Louis yesterday talking with city leaders about violent crime. St. Louis has already seen 138 homicides this year. Almost a dozen of those were children.
Everybody was at the table. Everybody had an open discussion of what powers, what we can provide to one another to fight violent crime.
Parson also commented on Democrats' actions in Jefferson City.
I am going to protect the rights of the Second Amendment to law-abiding citizens in this state. That's what the Constitution, I believe, says. What they do to the legislative action, till they do it, I'm not going to make a commitment whether I support it, whether I don't support it. But I think there's going to be discussion about it, and I think that's a good thing to have.
And also worth noting, last night the president tweeted his endorsement for Governor Parson for the upcoming 2020 election.
Still ahead for you this morning on Daybreak, a look at the new iPhone 11.
And Apple's new streaming and video game services. Details are in the Money Watch up next.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Lauren Barnes, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist Alisa Raffa. This is Color 10 News Daybreak.